Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Owen talks about sports and movies. Thank you for checking out today's video. I always appreciate the support. Let's get into it. So I finally have played through a good portion of God of War Ragnarok, the main story plus a couple side quests. And so now I'm finally ready to give you my review. And what else can I say? It's a masterpiece in every sense. I'm gonna explain more as we go, but just overall, I mean, this game is just I think I could make an hour-long video of everything that's so great and fantastic about this game, but I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible. But yeah, it's just great. It's simply a masterpiece. I don't have anything bad to say, but we'll get into some more details. I am gonna issue a spoiler alert, so if you haven't played or anything like that, there will be like story spoilers, but I also am gonna talk about just like combat general stuff that is not spoilery. So if you just like are more worried about there won't be full spoilers for everything, but there will be some story spoilers. So I just wanted to issue that warning. With all that being said, let's get into it. So our criteria for today are going to be gameplay, story, and characters, just like our Gotham Knights video. So first we're going to dive into gameplay. Um, like just everything about this game, it's just fantastic. I love the single shot over the shoulder way that this game is presented to us. It's a single shot. There's no cutscenes. It transitions seamlessly from cutscene to actual gameplay. That's seamless. The combat. I love the combat in the first God of War game, like the first Norse game. And it's improved just as much. I love all the different shield options, which I talk about progression as well. But the shield progress, the different type of shields you can get. I personally went with the Stonewall shield just because like I don't want to have to sit there and try to time every parry, and the Stonewall shield just builds up the kinetic energy, kind of like the Black Panther suit. And then it releases it out if you like double tap the shield strike button. But the Leviathan axe essentially functions the same. But the Blades of Chaos feel a little more like old school God of War. They're a lot more fluid. You can do a lot more with them. And so yeah, I mean you just have full control over what all of your weapons can do. And the third weapon, here's a spoiler. You can skip ahead. Three, two, one is the Dropnir Spear, which you get from Brock. I think whenever Kratos and him go to Smartelheim, I'm pretty sure. And it's great too. It's definitely, I think, like power wise, the weakest out of the three. But as far as like a long ranged weapon, I think it does function better than the Leviathan Axe because you don't have to call it back because it automatically regenerates, which is really nice. So it's also super helpful. But the different way that like you can approach a combat situation is very good as well. Um, all of the different enemy types, definitely the biggest flaw I would say from the first God of War game, like God of War 2018, was the very limited enemy variety. This game does not struggle with that. All nine realms, all the different enemies are also different. You've got the Asgardian like undead army that has Bifrost, and you've got, obviously you've got like your Hell Walkers or your Hell, whatever. But like the Grim and the little like wisp things that are like the rune letters. Fortunately, there's less remnants in this game. Thank God. I hated those things for the first game, but the combat is just so good, and now with the ability of the Blades of Chaos to go like to jump up, to like grapple yourself or to swing across, now like you can come down on ledges and do like jump slams basically, to trigger combos and stuff like that. There's just so many intricate. There are unlimited combat possibilities. You can approach the same combat situation three different ways, kind of depending on your play style. And I think that's really, really good because like not everybody plays the same. Like me personally, I'm a big Stonewall Shield Blades of Chaos person because I like the crowd control of the Blades of Chaos. But some other people that really like to parry and are really good at parrying, um, can do the other shield that is like the parry shield, and do the Leviathan axe, and run around and parry, hit with the axe. Because the axe, like, power wise, is the strongest out of the three. Parry, axe blow, and you just tear them up. You just destroy the same situation than I would, but with using the Blades of Chaos as more of a crowd control method. You know, um, hold on, there's another point I was about to say. Um, Let me think about it. The level design, definitely this game is much more vertical than the last game. The ability to grapple up with your Blades of Chaos, grapple down with them, swing across. Um, and even whenever you go back to the realms that you visited, they all feel very unique and different. Like, for example, like for the main story portion, whenever you go visit Alfheim, it's a different part than you visited before. So it feels very different. Um, Instead of going up the mountain in Muspelheim, you go down it. Midgard is completely frozen. Um, I'm trying to think of where else you go in like the main story. Helheim. What do you do in Helheim? Oh, like you literally walk parallel to where you visit in Helheim during the main story. Whenever you're down there with Loki and Thrud. Um, and so I mean, it's just like it's really organic. It feels very fresh and new and inventive. Even the places you have been, and the places you haven't been, like Smartelheim, Vanaheim, all are just beautiful designed as well. Having to figure out all the puzzles with in Smartelheim with the geysers is really fun. Um, Vanaheim's a beautiful planet. It's beautiful. Ironwood's a great place as well. The progression system is very similar to the last game. I definitely think it's like there's less menus and side menus, so it's definitely a little more streamlined. Um, and you get a lot of what's new is the ability to use XP to gain new skills, which I think is really really cool. Because like you have your runic attacks, you're having your lights, but then you also like have the ability to unlock new skills with XP, which is really nice. It's a fresh layer. Kratos, Atreus, and Freya all have skill trees, which is really really cool. So it's very similar, but there are some small tweaks to it that make it better than the other game. Traversal World, I mean, we get all 9 realms, and the game is stunningly beautiful. Every realm feels so detailed and fresh and organic and very distinct from one another. I mean, obviously, like a Vanaheim, which is this big, beautiful, sprawling forest, is very different than Muspelheim, where it's literally a volcanic planet. But you know, it's just they all like even like maybe Smartelheim and Vanaheim, who are a little greener. There's a lot more water in Smartelheim, as opposed to Vanaheim. So like even though that those planets seem very like desirable both climate wise, they're very different from one another. They're very distinct. All 9 realms are beautiful. Asgard, even though, pretty much you can't go back there post game after you beat the main story. And you can only go there like during certain story bits. Like you can't just go to Asgard at any point. Um, it's it literally looked like I felt like I was back in Ireland, almost. Um, which like I felt a little sentimental about because I visited there this summer. But in Traversal, the fast travel mechanic is once again upgraded. Um, like the tree. Like in the first game, you had to go to like if you're gonna switch realms, you had to go to Tyr's Temple, go to that realm, and then go to the Mystic Gateway. In this game, you can go from any Mystic gateway on any realm to any Mystic Gateway on another realm, which I think is really really cool, and it just saves you some time. Like you don't have to go to Tyr's Temple, sit through the very long like animation of Tyr's Temple switching and stuff like that. You don't have to do all that. You just simply go to the Mystic Gateway and you go. In Traversal, like on Smartelheim and Vanaheim, you use the boat. Using the wolves in Midgard because it's frozen is really fun and really cool. There's a really like sincere, fun little side quest that involves the wolves, which is really cool. And so yeah, I mean the gameplay is great. The gameplay was great in the first one, but it's just improved. Everything that you loved about the first game and everything you hated about the first game is all improved on in this one, just across the board, but especially in the gameplay department. Story. Oh my god. You talk about an impactful story. Video games are such an impactful medium to tell stories because of how in depth you can get and how much time you're allowed to just develop your story. It's not a 3 hour movie. It's not a six. It's not a 15 episode TV show. You have 20 plus hours to fully flesh out every single character you could want. And the plot is this beautiful, sprawling epic about the end of the world, the destruction of the 9 realms, these huge stakes, and these big epic battles. I mean, like the opening fight with Thor is that literally was like that was the game of the year moment. Like Thor kills you, but then he brings you back to life because he's not done with you. I mean, that's insane. So there's these huge, I mean, astronomical highs. But at the end of the day, the story never forgets what makes it so powerful. It's those most valuable themes and small, intimate moments and character relationships that really make this story go. Um, I mean, just the themes of choice, um, are just they're so apparent. And I really feel like that's something I'm resonating in my life because like I have a lot of choices, and I just have to make the right ones for me. And sure, maybe perhaps like I could see if someone wanted to criticize this game potentially of that like that the game doesn't deliver on some like the big huge potential like awesome epic moments like maybe God of War 3 did. Um but that's the point. That's the whole point of these entire 2 games is Kratos choosing to be better. Kratos has an opportunity to kill Thor and Odin in this game. He does. He could have easily killed both of them. But he doesn't. Because he's choosing to be better. To be the version of himself that he never thought he could be. Because he never thought he had a choice. He always thought he was just this destroyer. And his arc over these 2 games is all about choice and choosing to be better and choosing to be a better example for Atreus. He couldn't be that example for Calypsy, mainly because he killed her. But he couldn't. But Atreus, he got a second chance, and with that, he chose to be better. And Atreus chooses his own fate. Atreus won't let Ragnarok define him, or or like have it take Kratos from him. Freya, who's just a fantastic character of these 2 games. She chooses not to kill Odin. I mean, Kratos opens up his opening moments with Freya is like, I should have never, like when they're not trying to actually kill each other, like when Freya's not trying to kill him, like I should have never taken the choice of life and death from you. And then Freya chooses not to kill Odin because she doesn't need that to complete her. She is complete without killing him. I think it's really, really powerful whenever, but at the same time, like Odin's choices and Thor's choices affect them in a negative way. Odin's choices to just treat Thor like a war dog and attack dog negatively have ripple effects throughout the whole story and throughout these whole 2 games. Like Odin's choice to drive his family away and basically treat them like pawns ultimately kind of ended up in his demise because while Kratos did have the opportunity, Thor could have easily killed Kratos as well, during that fight. And Thor chooses to not because he's done fighting for Odin because Odin has chosen to push him that far away. And then when Odin kills Thor at the end, when they're storming Asgard, That's the final like nail in the coffin for him. Like he's got to go. Like he's done. And so I think it just like it has this beautiful plot that's riveting and entertaining. And kind of a subsequent part of that, character moments of story. Every single character, and when I say every single character, I mean that every single character gets their moment to shine and gets thoroughly fleshed out, and I think completes their arc in this game, really, because like the game developer said, this is going to be the final game in Norse, in their Norse setting. So, I mean, every single character completes their arc. Freyr, Mimir, um, Atreus, Kratos, Agrabah is great. Brock and Sindri. Brock's death was heartbreaking. Like I said, and I cried several times. I mean, the opening is Fenrir dying. Are you kidding me? Really? That's what we're gonna start off that strong with? A Essentially a dog dying, and then the like whenever Odin disguises Tyr kills Brock because in the what else? Oh, the moment at the end where Kratos lets Atreus go because Atreus knows he has to go on this giant quest, like this giant finding quest. Oh my god, that was emotional. And to see Kratos flip around to the other side of the shrine and see him depicted as this god that people actually worship and stuff like that, which Odin actually actively teased him for during the game, is a very powerful, moving moment as well. And so, I mean, it's just like every single character is great, well written. I will say that maybe the story isn't as concisely or precisely written as the God of War 2018 predecessor, but the story is also much larger, so I don't necessarily blame it. That's like my only very small, minor critique. I don't even know it's a critique. It's just an observation because it is so captivating. World building, it expands on an already super expansive world. I mean, the lore just continues to add on. I mean, whenever we get to meet Thor and Thrud and Sif and Heimdall and learn about what they've done, and learning about the Valkyrie Queen Sigrun, and her relationship with Mimir and her past before she met Mimir, before she became a Valkyrie. This world just continues to expand, and Kratos, Mimir, and Freya often like Kratos exchanges stories with them about his time in Greece, and so you get this whole huge, big, expansive world just being added onto it. And you get to go to all the different realms and learn about their history and their relationship with Asgard and with each other, and stuff like that. And so um the world building is just through the roof in this game, just like the first game. But it's through the roof as well. And the side quests, they're not required, but they are very fulfilling. I haven't done too many. I've only done like 2 or 3, but they've been really fun. You do run into some very hard enemies post game, so don't think that you're just going to cruise to the post game because that's just not true. Okay, finally, characters. I kind of talked about this in my in the story portion, but the relationship between Kratos and Atreus has been the rock of both of these games, and that holds so stinking true. Every single choice that they make not only affects the story, obviously, but it affects each other deeply, wholeheartedly. I mean, it hurts Kratos when Atreus goes on the run and goes to Asgard without telling him, or when Atreus isn't sharing these things with him. It hurts Atreus whenever Kratos doesn't trust him. There's such this pull between them. This dynamic is so sincere and genuine, and whenever Kratos lets Atreus go, because Kratos knows he's prepared Atreus to do what he's about to do. It's really powerful, and you know I do love like the disgruntled dad adopted son trope, but I love whatever this is more. Like Kratos without telling Atreus like all the time, I'm so proud of you, I love you. He just portrays his care in such a calculated and in such a calculated manner, but when it does shine through, you never doubt that Kratos literally doesn't want to go to war because he doesn't want to bring Atreus into it, but he only goes to war to protect Atreus. And so like and Atreus is doing everything in his power so Kratos doesn't die. I mean, Atreus is willing to go to Asgard by himself to spy on Odin so he can have a better leg up so Kratos doesn't die. He's not necessarily trying to stop Ragnarok. Yeah, of course he is, but their main motivation is to keep each other safe. And I think it's so beautiful in the way that's portrayed. And all the side characters, Mimir obviously is just like super funny and provides great wisdom, stuff like that. Freya's arc in this game is awesome. You know, she kind of gets like a little bit of a shortened Kratos over, I don't know how many God of War games there are. 8 now. In the one game, kind of, but you get to see her vengeance burn so bright and so deep. And to watch it slowly erode away, like her vengeance, first off, she's vengeful against Kratos and Odin. And then her vengeance and hatred for Kratos erodes away and then blossoms back into friendship. And then her hatred for Odin never goes away until the end when she realizes she doesn't need his death to to be complete. I think that's beautiful. The relationship between Freya is great. Rock and Cindy are great in this game once again. They definitely get a lot more to do in this game. They're not just like the little blacksmiths. They like actively go with you. Like at one point when Atreus goes to seek out Jotungammer and Freya and Midgard, like Sindri goes with you. Brock and Kratos go by themselves to Smarlheim to create the Draupnir spear. They get a lot more to do in this game. So you really feel that. I mean, Kratos says at Brock's funeral, like, you're one of the few people I consider a friend. Like Sindri and Atreus, have a very good relationship. Unfortunately, it goes out on a really bad note, but it's okay. Tyr, I didn't particularly like him, but I also understand that that's not the actual Tyr that like Atreus was looking up to. And that Odin was only disguising himself as Tyr so he could like spy on them, which is a great twist. I mean, that was a great twist. I literally was so shocked, but I didn't particularly like Tyr, but I also understand that that was for a reason because it was Odin just pretending to be Tyr. Agrabota, I hope I said and or spelled that right. I love her just warm energy. Obviously, like when you're playing Atreus, which by the way is so fun. It's not as fun as being with Kratos, but it is super cool and super fun. Anyways, whenever you're with her in Ironwood or wherever else you are through the rest of the game, there's just this warm feeling and energy around her that is just captivating. And Thrud, I definitely felt like while Atreus and Agrabota had like some like romantic chemistry, Thrud and Atreus as friends, like they just have such a very platonic energy with one another. I mean, it's great. And any side character you can name in this. Oh, who I loved was Surtur in this game. He was awesome. I don't know, he was just cool. A very sad story, but I loved him in this game as well. The villains, I mean, Odin, Thor, and Heimdall, like the big three, definitely. I mean, Odin's a great, just like overarching, like big bad. I mean, like you talk about a big bad. I mean, he's the quintessential big bad. Always pulling the strings, always looking for the next thing, always looking for the edge, always trying to manipulate the situation. I mean, the fact that he like offered peace to Kratos and Atreus, like pulled up to their house, like that's so ballsy. I definitely was not the Asgardian accents. Just by the way, are like all the accents in this game, just top to bottom, are all over the place. That's not what I thought any of them would sound like. So I definitely was a little taken back. And Odin, like, he doesn't portray himself as this like big, huge, like person or this grandiose person. He's just like a little scrawny old man, but he's cunning and he's meticulous and malicious. And to echo Kratos' words, wars are won by people who are willing to sacrifice everything, and Odin literally is, so he can have these answers and this drive to have these answers is what ultimately cost him. Thor is very tragic in this game. Definitely great boss fights. I mean, fantastic boss fights with him. But just like this lack of purpose that he feels, because he only feels like he's only good for drinking and killing giants, and being Odin's like little like war dog. I mean, it's so sad. He doesn't feel like he has a choice. He feels like he can't change. He tells Kratos that all the time. That's all we are, as destroyers. He tells Atreus, whenever Odin sends them on their little errands to find the pieces of the mask, that like, this is who I am. Like, I can't change. And just like that despair level is honestly just really sad. Heimdall, I mean, you talk about just a pretentious prick. I mean, he is insufferable in this game. And that boss fight, I don't know how people just figured that out on their own. Like, I had to watch a YouTube video because like you can't hit him normally. Like, you do have to use the Grotner Spear. Like, you cannot use the Blades of Chaos or the Leviathan Axe. But and Heimdall is like just so loyal and so committed to the cause of Asgard, and just insufferable, but written greatly. So good, so good. Everyone in the game is great. Everyone in the game, regardless of role, side, is just written so well and with such precision and unique from one another. No one character feels similar to another. They all have very different personalities, motivations, perspectives. It's just great, top to bottom. So overall, while expanding on everything the first game did great and improving on the minimum number of flaws, Ragnarok truly checks in as a masterpiece. With an epic story exploring all 9 realms with improvements to combats and general gameplay, this sequel is everything and more anyone should ask for in a game. Rating infinity out of 10. If this game is not Game of the Year, I don't know what will be. So thank you for checking out today's video. I always appreciate the support. Make sure you guys check out the link content above and check out any other videos you might want to watch. Like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the fun. And you guys have a great day.